Greetings, friends, on this Friday, November the 20th, 2015. If you are able to see this right now, then this is good news because you've been able to launch your Weather Briefings Storm Avenger weather app that's going to keep you posted throughout the winter months on various winter weather conditions that are coming. And how fortunate for us. We get to introduce it here with a real taste of winter weather and the first snow of the season coming across the area. I'm going to take you through the maps real quickly, show you what's going on as of late this afternoon and all the way on into and through the weekend and the initial thought process for the forecast. This is not going to be a huge snowstorm by any means, but the first one of the season is always tricky for travel and a little difficult in general just to kind of plan and coordinate. So we want to get this out in front of you with plenty of time and be able to at the same time check and look at some of the different features of the app, which we'll go through on a separate video here at another time. But this one's all about the winter weather warning for the weekend, and here's what we've got going on. We're trying out a few different things here with the weather maps on the videos to kind of see what's the cleanest and easiest to read. I came across this set of maps and forecast models. I want to go with these for today anyway and see how well they translate. But this first map that we're looking at is the forecast model for this morning, coming up at 8 o'clock or so. And it is the positioning of the storm system that we're watching that's back over Wyoming at this point. This thing is going to come together and make some tracks. It's pushing moisture. You can see the trough of low pressure in the Nebraska area going northward and northeastward, and the moisture out ahead of that is being drawn up, and that's what's kicking off the snow back through South Dakota and Nebraska. And that stretch of heavier band of snow and more likely precipitation is what we're going to watch as it comes on through the Plains states and on into the Great Lakes pretty quickly during the next 24 hours. For the moment, we've got high pressure over Kentucky. That's keeping things dry for us for the time being, and that trough of low pressure off to the northwest coming across the UP and also the northern portions of Wisconsin. That's headed off to the east and won't really play a part in this forecast. Here's the expected positioning of the storms for earlier into the afternoon Friday. Keeping an eye down to the southwest over Colorado, where the Rocky Mountain low has drifted a bit southward, and also weak low pressure areas across Kansas and the Texas Panhandle. These are all kind of coming together, and they're going to intensify this storm, and we're going to see the area of snowfall really kind of balloon and expand here over the next couple of frames. It moves again through the eastern half of the South Dakota, Nebraska area, and gets a good foothold into the western portions of Iowa. Areas to the south of that showing some rain, and as it gets closer to us, we're going to have to pay a special attention to the rain-snow line because that is going to be a factor for us. And here we are at 7, 8 o'clock in the evening Friday. Check it out. The low-pressure system that's strengthening over Kansas has pushed moisture further north up just to the near the Minneapolis area for the northern edge of the snow, and as far as the Lansing area, beginning to see flurries and snow showers in this particular model as it continues to head off to the east and the northeast. Now, we do have some dry air that has to moderate and moisturize and become completely saturated first before the snow starts to fall. So sometimes these first layer light snow forecasts are a little bit overblown, but point being the moisture making its way into the state, and also taking a look just to the southwest over Lake Michigan through the Chicago area, and then points west from there. That purple is mixed precipitation, rain, sleet, snow, and that'll also be headed our way along with the area of moderate to possibly heavy snow that's in the dark blue. That's totally got Iowa encompassed here. And here's the forecast headed into the daytime Saturday, taking a look at Michigan. And boy, we've got the snow totally entrenched across the state in varying intensities at this point in time. Also note the southeast portion, the Detroit area, and off toward Ann Arbor, and maybe even as far west as Jackson, and then points south from there, Monroe, down toward Toledo. All in the area where we could see some rain and some mixed precipitation throughout Saturday. That's going to keep accumulation amounts down until Saturday night, Sunday morning. Whereas a little further to the west, the Lansing-Saginaw area, mid-Michigan, definitely seeing primarily snow, and that's going to give us the greater accumulations. That in combination with that trough of low pressure, you can see the dash marked across the state. That's low pressure increasing, and that's increasing the moisture flow and also, therefore, some of the total snow accumulation that we can expect to see throughout the day on Saturday. And here's the Saturday night weather map, the forecast taking us into Sunday morning. And here's where we start to see a little bit of contradiction in the models. and where there could be some variance in the actual rain-snow line. We do expect that by Saturday night and certainly throughout early Sunday morning, all of Michigan will be in the snow area, and the moderate snow that we see over a good portion of the mitten here will continue to be the case. Do note that the low pressure that's headed up over toward the Cleveland area is forecast on a different set of maps to follow that trough of low pressure that we saw in the last picture, this one over here, and take it up across Michigan. The difference between that path and this path makes all the difference as far as the amount of snow that we'll actually see, especially in the southeastern Michigan area, where we could see the precipitation being a mix for a little bit longer. Looks as though the forecast for the southeast Michigan area is generally going to be for an inch or two of snow, whereas you get further west and we're looking at 3 to 6 inches of accumulation, and that's also pretty much the upstate forecast too, headed up north. Fair amounts of snow as that trough crosses the state and we start to see the winds turn in and we get some lake effect snow too. We're going to get to the forecast specifics here on this particular storm very quickly. We just want to take you through a minute or two of housekeeping here, some changes from last year as far as the weather app is concerned. The Storm Avenger has become much bigger and better than it was last year. We have tried to make it easier to read, offering more frequent updates, giving you audio and video as well, and trying to keep in as close communication with you as possible throughout the snow event, and also so you can see some of the logic and the thinking that we use in some of our descriptions and the way we illustrate things for you. We have added the link at the very top here. I've pushed the logo up just a little bit on this demo phone. You'll see on your app, you should be seeing winter weather warning, and that is a text link to the page that will have your forecast in detail. That's a headline for you, so you get the basic gist of it. You click on that. The timed forecast with all the details, much more detailed outlook, will be in on that forecast page. That's just there to let you know that there is something imminent, and as you check in on the phone from time to time, you see that. It's some new information for you. Down below where the video is, that's the winter weather preview was in there until now. This is the where you will see winter weather warnings and storm warnings, things like that, on that video slide right there. You will be able to see that and listen to it, as opposed to necessarily having to watch it. If you've got your eyes on the road and you want to hear what's going on, we're delivering it that way as well. And just a little bit further down will be the row of buttons like last year. We have changed some of the criteria a little bit on some of the descriptions of the weather conditions. We talked over the summertime, and again with the new weather season as we were putting this together, there's an awful lot of hype all over the place with the description of the impending storms and the big deal that tends to get everybody whipped into a frenzy every year. And at least here in the Michigan area, we're used to snow, especially being in the business that we're in, the snow removal business, the snow forecasting business. People's lives do go on when we get a little bit of snow. So we've labeled these just a little bit differently. The forecast is always going to be the forecast. That's what we're going to go by. That's what we will expect that you'll want. That information is going to be perfectly clear and in detail. But we'll describe it a little bit differently. Up until we get to about a 6-inch snow mark, it's winter weather. It's Michigan. It's snow. We'll call it a winter weather warning, as opposed to a storm warning. When we get over 6 inches, you can see on the right-hand side here the grid. When we start to get over 6 inches in that and things become a lot more complicated, we'll call it a storm warning. At that point, it's a storm. It's a bigger deal. So what we're looking at here in this first wave of weather for us coming across for Saturday and Sunday, it's definitely a winter weather warning of varying degrees across the state. Pretty much a lower impact event for southeast Michigan, but mid-Michigan and northern Michigan seeing definitely a moderate impact event with a 3 to 6 inch snowfall in the forecast. And so that would already be criteria that would be approaching storm warning. But unless we were expecting a very solid and consistent 6-inch snowfall across the area, we're going to hesitate to use the word storm just because it tends to make things sound more dramatic than it is, and it raises expectations all the way across the board. And we try to keep it as accurate and real as we can here, and that's our thinking for the season anyway. So when you see our descriptions, you can look at this guide. Always your forecast as it reads on your forecast page will be the forecast to go by, and that's the description to use. These are guidelines that we've got here for you. And without further ado, on to your specific forecast for this upcoming weekend. Alrighty, Randy Brown and friends, here's what we have for the western Wayne County, Belleville area. The winter weather warning. It's going to be a low impact storm for us. The accumulations are going to be down a little bit with the mixed precipitation. The milder pavements are going to keep pavement conditions from accumulating also. So I think what we see for the most part is a 1 to 3 inch forecast. 3 inches further to the west, an inch further to the east, and that's mainly on grassy and non-paved areas. Now, we will see pavement probably after about 8, 9 o'clock start to snow up a little bit, and through the early morning, probably going to need some treatment. But accumulations, I don't see any more than about 2 inches stacking up on the pavements before daybreak and the snow tapering off, and then we'll get into melting on Sunday. So this, again, isn't one of the bigger storms. It's a low-impact one, but the difference between the grassy, unpaved areas and the pavement surfaces this time is going to be a little bit more pronounced than we've seen in some of the other storms as we get on into the season. So it looks like, again, 1 to 3 inches total accumulations, pavement amounts a little bit less this time around. We'll be updating again probably around noontime or so with the next winter weather warning, and keep an eye on the screen and we will keep you up to date. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.